Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the driveway. It is once again Corvette time. Very hot out. This is my 97 C5 Corvette, and already you can see one of the problems that I'd like to fix today. That left bulb isn't broken out. The housing is actually broken, and the bulb has fallen down into the bumper because the area that retains it is all cracked and broken, and also there are little bits of an old bulb and leaves inside. So I bought some new housings off of Amazon, and we're going to put those on, but first we move our attention inside to something that I love to do on every single car, and that is spend way too much money on the stereo. In the last video with this car, which was actually a video with the Saturn, we dumped a single den Alpine CDA 9886 in there. I love these old Alpines. They just look so correct in these cars, but speaker's bad. This has the BOSE sound system, which means there is a 8-inch woofer and a what's called a twiddler in here, which takes aspects of a mid-range and a tweeter and combines the worst of both of them into one speaker. And in this case, it is burnt out and the subwoofer is rattling, and I hate all of it. And I hate BOSE. I want nothing to do with this. So it took a lot of searching to figure out the best way to do this. I mean, the best way obviously is to rip all the BOSE stuff out and rewire it completely from scratch, but this system works a little bit strange in these cars. The only speaker in the car that is actually BOSE specific and driven by BOSE amplifiers and of a weird, resistance and whatnot is that subwoofer. The twiddler and the two rears drive directly off the head unit. If you have an aftermarket head unit. If you have the stock head unit, those channels only get the upper registers. Everything else goes to the subwoofers. But since I have an aftermarket radio in here already, I have just a normal ass speaker connection going to the twiddler. So I can go ahead and break that out and put some normal speakers in here because I don't want bass in my doors. That's dumb. I hate it. I hate subs in the doors. Yes, I just want my doors to rattle more and to have bass projected at my leg hairs. My NC Miata has a much better, more modern BOSE system in it, but it's the same thing. I think that's like a 10-inch woofer in the door. It's obscene. So we're going to put normal speakers in here. We're going to leave the rear alone for now, but eventually I imagine I will put a couple of independently driven subwoofers in both of these rear enclosures just to fill out the low end a little bit. But for now, I don't care too much about bass. I just want sound that can be heard clearly with the top off, because I'm not going to say it's beautiful, but the top comes off, so hey, why not? So the first step is getting the door off, and ooh. I think someone's been in here before. Is that Gorilla Glue? I recognize that pea yellow, gross, crusty mess anywhere. And then, let's see. I think I actually need a screwdriver for this. So there's some little slots here that you stick a flathead screwdriver in and pop off this trim. And then the whole door just comes off with a bunch of plastic clips that I'm sure I'm going to break. None seem broken now, but just wait. Oh, I see. So that slot here just levers this plastic piece over this tab. So that levers the plastic piece off, and then off it comes. And now it is door time. Let's see. I'm going to do this off camera so I can use both hands. I totally forgot the whole reason for taking off the cover here was to get to the delicious T30s underneath. Oh, and there we go. Okay. Cool. And there's our speaker. Ew. Okay, got that unplugged. Let's get these, I think they're actually 5.5, I don't know, 7 mils? Who knows? Whatever these are. Get these screws out of here. Okay, I think that's all of them now. Yes. Be free. Doesn't feel particularly blown, but sure doesn't sound very good. before these little 5mm gets the twiddler out, and here we can see what we're working with. You can see these two wires that were going to the twiddler come straight out of the wiring harness. These are the only two wires that we care about. The rest of these we're just going to cut off and use this, yeah, come on. There we go. Just use this little portion of wiring to connect to our new speakers, though we're going to have to crimp on new spade connectors because these are the reverse polarity of the industry standard, because BOSE. That's kind of cute though, individually amped subwoofers. They used a weird balanced differential signal, but everything for the twiddlers is perfectly normal. Normally I wouldn't care much about the phasing because, well, if all the phasing is backward, then it's all in phase, but since I'm not replacing the rear speakers yet, if I kept this reversed wiring, then the fronts would be out of phase with the rear and you'd have destructive interference, so I'm not going to do that. So here's our wiring with everything else stripped out. It's just going to be this black and red and black and green wires, except these are wrong, so the green needs to be small and the red needs to be large. So I've got a couple of connectors here to do that real quick. And there we go. That's the car side of the wiring, done, wrapped in Tessa tape. Now to find something to connect it to, I bought these reasonably priced Alpine components. You know, got to keep it in the brand. So you got woofer, tweeter, and the high pass filter. Not really a crossover, just a high pass. So this will be getting high range sounds going to it. Not ideal. Real crossover would be preferred, but hey, this was only like 130 bucks, link in the description. And then this is the Metra wiring or adapter that we're going to use to install it. It's all pretty simple. I've never actually done components before. I've only just done coaxials, and I really don't like the way coaxial sounds, so we're going to see how this do. And I got a 2-inch hole saw here. Stick it right there to make the hole, and then the tweeter can go in. Hole drilled. Racked myself because it caught the plastic and flung it around right into me, so that was fun. Let's just get the tweeter in here. Retention ring. And then the woofer. Forgot the screws. On the back side here now we have our wiring to contend with. You've got a small male and female spade connector here that goes to the small male and female spade connector on the high pass filter. There we go. And then on the other side of the high pass filter, these can go on either one of the terminals they fit onto, but I'm going to use the ones on the outside. There we go. Now I need to do something with all of this. And I think I'm gonna tape it kind of in a bundle right there-ish. You're not gonna see any of this. It's all gonna be behind the factory grills, so that'll keep it from rattling around at least. And I stuck the wiring harness on here, so this is actually ready to go back in the car. It occurs to me that the wiring has to get out somehow. I guess you're just meant to smush it. So, thanks Metra for not having any instructions telling me that I was doing it backwards. The speaker goes in this way, with the bump facing out. Not sure why. I mean, well, I know why. I'm not sure why it has this bump. It could just be a flat piece of plastic, it seems like. I guess if you wanted to put like some sort of super duper woofer in here, you would need this, but whatever. What's frustrating is that because of that hump, these P-clips don't fit, so I'm having to just... I used the slightly more aggressive screws and just went into the plastic, and yeah, that seems okay. I can't say that I love the way that the adapter plate installs. Like, it started cracking from the stress of just installing it. Oh well. I guess now we'll turn on the radio and see how this side sounds compared to the BOSE side. Well, I'd have loved to show off how it sounds, but copyrighted music and whatnot. Basically, it has a lot more mids. The BOSE system was like mediocre bass, mediocre treble, nothing in between. This actually has mids. I can hear snare drums now. I did have to give it a little... Speaking of Corvettes... neighbor's C8. I did have to EQ it a little bit, and it really hates low bass like most small components do, so yeah, it really needs a subwoofer, but you know, whatever, it'll be fine. It's better than this rattling at me. So now I just gotta put the door back on, minus the one clip tab that I broke. That is, if my camera would stop overheating and shutting off. Oh, and if anyone has a suggestion on where I could get an Alpine badge to replace this BOSE badge that's roughly the same size, that would be sick. I wanted to do this on a lift because I knew it would suck, and unfortunately I was right. These are the original turn signal housings that were on the car. As you can see, this one melted a little bit. Yeah, kind of gone. This one melted a whole lot. I thought the bulb was burnt out until I pulled the air duct out of the way and saw that, no, the bulb is fine. It just isn't in the housing anymore. There's a whole bunch of duct tape holding it into here. So clearly there's something going on here that these incandescent bulbs melt the housing. So I got some new housings off of Amazon and put LED switchback bulbs in there. That was a horrible job. I filmed none of it because you really couldn't see anything anyway. There's a panel you have to take off the bottom of the car, and then even then you're still just elbow deep in the car. I cut my arm up a bit trying to get those housings in, but they're in. The LEDs are in. If we turn on the light, I think they look quite snazzy. Really updates the front end of the car a lot without looking too obviously aftermarket. And these are switchback LEDs, which means they'll turn amber when you turn on the turn signal, but that means the car will think the bulb is out, which is why I also bought a hyper flash unit for far too much money. To install that, you simply remove a screw from here behind the fog light / trunk button, and another here where the temperature sensor is. This whole panel comes down super easy, and then there's a plug right here, and that's where your flasher goes. It just plugs in betwixt, and then no hyper flashing. I didn't turn the headlights on, so that one would be white. But it works great. These LEDs are just sitting in my tool bag for probably the last 3 years, so who knows how long they'll last, but fortunately changing the bulb isn't... It's still pretty bad, honestly. You have to really pay attention to which way it's clocked and which way it goes in, or you will fumble forever. But, yeah, they're good for now. I'm sure they'll probably burn out at some point. I'll have to replace them because they are Chinese, but mumble grumble. There we go. So now I'm going to put this panel back up. See if I can scrounge some zip ties to get that out of the way. And then give this thing a bit of a bath. Okay, so this is something I haven't done since I bought this car. I've never seen the underside of it. And I cannot find my phone flashlight. Please hold while we connect you with the next available representative. There we go. So, I've never seen the underside of a C5 at all, actually. Right off the bat, that's kind of neat. The duct up into the, that explains why this comes down so far to redirect. Yeah, it's hinged. Yeah.
So you don't ruin it?
Yeah, it's supposed to hit the ground. Kind of neat. It makes horrible noises, though. These have clearly...
gotten some attention from the road.
Yeah, so let's see here. I see green. Can't tell if that's
these guys.
You can't tell. You think that's dye or coolant?
No, that's dye. That's definitely dye.
So I wonder if that's where our AC has been leaking for the last several years.
Yeah, that's probably compressor.
Looks like the compressor. That looks like no fun to get to either.
No, first step one, drop the subframe
Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, so that's not.
and your control arms and all that. And then what was really cool about the 5.7s on these is they needed a super low profile oil pan, so they gave you the what they call the Batwing pan. And these are actually really popular for swaps and all of that.
Really?
Downside is they're rear sump rather than front sump, so
Yeah, you run into
whatever.
other fitment issues.
Yeah.
And the floor.
Yeah, O2 sensors look
Factory.
yeah,
Never been touched.
terrible to get to.
Yeah. The wooden floors.
Are those wood?
They're a sandwich of composite fiberglass and balsa wood.
Huh. That's neat.
Trans is weeping.
Yeah, a little bit of leakage from your seals there. We probably ought to do a transmission fluid change on it.
I think Eric did that. I need to check with him though. I don't remember what all he did.
Did do the fill filter,
Oh yeah, new fuel filter. Cool.
and then from here back is your Z06 exhaust.
Look at those welds.
Boomer well. Oh yeah, nice exhaust leaks there. Love that. And yeah, we'll just shove these trays all the way. Wow, that was a short trip.
Yeah, right. There's not
really
a lot.
much to look at here.
Not a lot to these
See your
cars.
light here.
Yeah, the sway bar end links are completely gone.
Yeah, need to do end links. Your bushings and everything look really, really good.
Yeah.
Boots are good.
Shocks don't look too bad to do on this.
Yeah,
They
that doesn't look too bad. Oh, so both sides are both front and rear relief?
Yes.
Spring?
So I was told.
I had no idea.
So the guy I bought this from, he had a shop take the rake out of it. I believe by lowering the rear and not the front. And these need that rake to handle correctly.
So these are your adjustment bolts then?
Yes.
I assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're literally just under tension at all times, and you just run them up and down. So I think I need to lower the front just a little bit.
Yeah.
I noticed the front control arms have a little bit of a positive inclination to them, and I think ideally they should be neutral.
Yeah.
According to GM's
Front end links look
literature.
okay. None of your ball joint boots look shredded, so that's happy. Yeah, what an interesting setup. And yeah, we don't see any leaks other than your AC compressor there
Yeah.
and the diff.
Oh, check out. Well, that's not the diff. The diff's way
the
back here.
transmission, rather. Yeah, the transmission.
I have been reading that apparently it's pretty easy to swap rear end gears on these.
Yeah,
And 410s really make the manual ones a lot nicer to drive
cool.
because you're not shifting. Third gear doesn't take you to 78 miles an hour.
Sway bar bushings look good.
Oh, and look at the. So since this is a pre-2000 car, there's the fuel pump, and there's the other fuel sender.
Wow,
Very easy to get to.
neat.
Unfortunately, you can't buy them. So, they're in YouTube land. If anyone knows or has or can find me fuel sending units for a 97 to 2000 C5, let me know, because they appear to be out of stock everywhere I have found. Just within the last few months, they just became NLA, so that's cool. Thanks, GM or whomever. Let's give this thing a wash before Cars and Coffee tomorrow. Well, the car is looking great. It's a little dirty now because it's been a few days. I did go to Cars and Coffee, but yeah, not much of interest happened there. Fortunately, I recently just got these in the mail, which will nicely round off this set of modifications. Come on, go in. There you go. Look at that. She's coming along slowly. But yeah, hit me up if anyone knows where I can get fuel level senders. I need both sides. Can't find them anywhere. I can find the left side some places, but not the right side, and even then the left side's like $400, so any help appreciated there. Thanks for watching.